Hey guys, I'm back again, and this time we're doing kefir, but not milk kefir. We're doing water kefir. Kefir, tomato. So I just came back from half a week, about 4 days away. So I had put my water kefir. Just a moment, Tendy wants to go outside. Touch the dog, wash your hands. So you want to be clean. Always want to be clean, but especially when you're doing stuff with ferments, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha, any of those things where you're wanting to encourage good bacteria growth. You want to make sure your surface is clean, your utensils are clean, your hands are clean, because you don't want to be introducing bad bacteria, because the bad bacteria will grow much better, faster, and take over the good bacteria. Anyways, so I had my water kefir grains just covered, just slightly more than covered. You can see there's those little blobs. Some of them are floating. So the way you put them to sleep, to bed, or slow them down, whatever. If you're going away for couple days, a week, you got too much, just enough to cover, put it in the fridge. Cool will slow them down. If you're going away, say for a month, 6 months, again, just enough to cover, but put it in the freezer. May take a little bit more to reactivate, but they shouldn't, knock on wood, die on you. I've got these lids off of Amazon. They're kefir straining lids. They're okay to work with water kefir. I find they don't work so well straining off milk kefir. It just gets too clogged. The milk gets too thick. So, but it's still good to ferment it. I like to use them to ferment it. They have 2 settings. Lids just, once you line it up, push it one way and it's closed. There is an inner seal so it doesn't leak, but they're not airtight. And then push it the other way and it gives a little gap. Again, anytime you're doing an active ferment, you want to wait for carbon dioxide and the gases that the microbes give off to come out, but you don't want it totally open. You don't want it totally open, letting like fruit flies and stuff get in. But just a minute. So I'm just going to strain these out so we can get a better view of what the kefir grains look like. There we go. See? They're much smaller than the milk kefir, although milk kefir grains, you can have little tiny ones like this too. And I've heard the water grains can get big like the milk kefir. These ones started about a month ago as like pretty much powder. I got a dried water kefir. And you might have noticed there are a couple dark flecks in there. That's from some coconut sugar. So we'll put these back. I'm just going to dump this back in as well because there's nothing wrong with it. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to feed our water kefir grains, and they feed off of sugar. They're going to eat the sugar, so there's going to be next to no sugar in the actual drink, but you need sugar for them to survive, for them to thrive, for them to do their thing. You can use plain white sugar. Sometimes if you find that they're not growing or it's not doing its thing, they seem like they're starving. Maybe the grains are even getting smaller. Add some brown sugar or a drop of molasses. That just gives a little bit more nutrients, some minerals for the water kefir. I know some people have great results using just regular white sugar. I had so-so results, but as soon as I switched to like an organic cane sugar, they took off. So I'm not even going to measure. I'll measure with my heart. So in this cup, I've got filtered non-chlorinated water, and it's warmed up kind of like baby bath temperature. Not boiling, not hot, but more than room temperature. So I just kind of eyeball it there. That was probably a quarter cup. But like I said, that quarter cup of sugar is not going to be in your drink when you're done. Just going to give it a little stir. Some people wait till it's totally dissolved. I don't. And I'm just going to make sure we get most of the sugar in there. Still a bunch there. I'm just going to go back and forth a couple times till I get it. There we go. So now, oh, they're happy. They're already up and moving. Some of that's just, a lot of that's just from the motion of dumping it in. But I can tell those are going to be happy. I put the lid on to keep any, actually first, clean cloth so that it doesn't get stuck so much the next time with that sugar. And there we go. So I'm going to put this back over in my corner. Kevin likes to call this concoction corner. And this is a second ferment water kefir with some bilberry concentrate. So just like kombucha, if you want a little bit of carbonation, a little extra, good microbiome going on, good bacteria in there, you can do a second ferment. So in 24 hours, that will be all bubbly. And, well, not bubbly. The grains, some of them will float up and down. And if I take a sip, there won't be much sugar yet. It might take 24 to 48 hours is usually where it's at. So this, I made a little while ago. Added some of the bilberry. And then, and a little bit of extra cane sugar. So for a second ferment, I need to add more sugar. But the yeast and bacteria are going to eat like 90% of that. So I'm going to get a little cup. And let's see if we got some fizz. So, flip top, carbonation rated flip top bottles are your best. If you use, say, a screw top, a mason jar, be careful for explosions, because you saw how that went. So this is a good way to substitute for pop, soda, whatever you want to call it. You can hear that fizz. You've got a nice light, happy gut soda. This is going to be so great in the summer. Light and refreshing. Yeah. So I will come back tomorrow and show you what the milk kefir looks like when it is done. So we took it from a dormant state, and this is after a second ferment. It's a little out of order, but I'll show you what the end of a first ferment looks like. All right, so I'm back. It's the next day. Don't mind the dishes. Dishwasher's full. Clean. Just hasn't been empty yet, but we made like full-on breakfast, waffles. It was so good. But anyways, this is my water kefir. I don't know if you're able to see, but some of the grains are going up and down, and there's bubbles. It's really hard to see because it's cloudy, but it's there. So when the grains start going up and down and floating, and little bubbles, like they're like tiny soda pop bubbles. It's hard to see, especially through the glass. That means you've got some fermenting happening. The cultures are good and alive, and you can try a little sip. Some in a glass. One way to know how it's doing is to try a little sip. So try a little sip when you first put your sugar in, so you know the sweetness you have. Not nearly as sweet. There's still a tiny little bit of sweetness, so this could go longer. But then it's got just a hint of sour. Oops. So I've got 2 empty bottles here. Not sure. I don't think one will be enough, so we're gonna strain it off. Just take a sieve, put it in a funnel. The sieve strainer on these lids, a lot of my water kefir grains are small, so they'll go right through. So that's why I still use a sieve. And if you don't like it carbonated, bubbly, you can just put it in the fridge as is, like this. Oh, not quite enough. So I like to keep it just enough to cover. Like I said, there's a couple little brown spots. That's from some coconut sugar I used a while back. And then, so those off to the side. Gonna even them out a bit. There we go. I like using these flip top bottles because they can take the carbonation. And to do a second ferment, I'm gonna do 1 of this bilberry concentrate. A tablespoon or 2. And then this other one, I'm gonna do elderflower. You can add fruit, you can add ginger, you can add like juice concentrates that they get in the cans and they're frozen. There's gonna be a few drops of the bilberry in this one. It's okay. And then I'm going to use a dry funnel and add about a tablespoon or so of sugar. I've got organic cane sugar. White sugar will do at this point. Some people find it's best to use the same type of sugar that they did their ferment with. It's whatever. And then I'm going to put these, give them a shake. Now I've got 2 bottles of first ferment. I can drink them just like this and they're great, they're tasty. But I'm going to put them off to the side so we can get a second ferment. And that's where the bubbles come from. So we've got some fizz. Now we have some healthy gut soda. And that's pretty much all there is to it for water kefir. Definitely helps digestion. Things like IBS, diverticulitis, heartburn, just kind of getting everything going. Yeah, and it's yummy and so light and refreshing, because why not?